We need reparations, we need vacations, we need blue strips for all the time we spent waiting. We gon' kill for what we owe, Joe, we not playing. Mr. President, I think it's time we get paid. I watch all of my people die. Why your people try to act like we commit crime? Get killed on TV, got our kids scared to go outside. It's time you pick a side. Before we turn this bitch up, Mr. President, better fall in line. Yeah, we don't need loans, we need what we owe. We need police to stop killing sisters inside their home. And when it happened and we burn this bitch down, they need to stop telling us we was wrong. Ay, and we need unity. We need the government to stop bringing drugs in our community. They better stop playing, we not the ones. You got guns and we got guns. Who kill us and play with our funds? Yeah, how we supposed to restore when they don't give us more? When they got knees on our necks when we walk out the store? How we heal when they go to the park, kill a 12-year-old boy for killing, we ready for war. Yeah, and we need reparations, we need vacations, we need blue strips for all the time we spent waiting. We gon' kill for what we owe, Joe, we not playing. Mr. President, I think it's time we get paid.
Peace, peace, greetings to you all. It's your brother Naheem, BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts. Mr. Just the Facts family. Look, click like on the video, share the video out. We're gonna be giving a brief overview on Kamala Harris's economic plan and see if it's something that will be viable for American freedmen as we move closer into oblivion. It seems like in this country, we are always the forgotten about people in this country. When you speak about the bottom of the bottom, you're speaking about the American freedmen. If you ask any politician, especially a Democratic politician, what do you plan on doing for the American freedmen? Or why can't you specifically target the American freedmen or quote unquote Black Americans? They will come up with all of these different excuses, one of which being, we're only 14% of the population. We've seen that with my debate on Sarnetta, when I was debating with Brother Jabari like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I think that was about a week and a half ago, something like that. And that was one of the things that he said. You can't just specifically do nothing for Black people because we're only 14% of the population, yada, a bunch of BS. When it comes to us, it's always a bunch of BS. What's going on, Brother Coop? Freedman, first do your research. Kelly Pryor, Nevada Freedman is on deck. What's going on, sis? And I say that to say they refuse to look at us, right? If you ever hear any of these campaign speeches, especially the party that our people gives the majority of their votes to, there's always this ignoring the lower class. So they start with middle class. You got to think, if there's a middle class, then there has to be a lower class and there has to be a higher class. if you ever listen, and I was listening to Kamala speech, Kamala, I was listening to her speech. And not too long ago, she's in Raleigh, North Carolina, and she unveiled her economic plan. It came out, obviously, they released it to the media before she gave the speech in Raleigh. And we're gonna go over some of that as well. But you know, as I listened to her, I heard her say that the speech was did it drop a vision? I don't know what you talk about, Ibrahim. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm not sure what you mean on what you put in the inbox. But just jump on when you get a chance. But I kept hearing that term, middle class, middle class, middle class. And that's every party, right? But I stress that when it comes to our people, because our people vote for the Democrats, or whom I call the do nothing for us Democrats. So why are we always starting from the middle? See, if you start from the middle, then you begin to work your way up, as opposed to starting from the bottom and working your way up. And that's because, like Kevin O'Leary said, the Shark Tank billionaire who's working on Kamala Harris's campaign, that they're going to raise $200 million more and then move towards the center. And when you move towards the center, what you'll find there is the true American middle class. So this is going to be about 86, 87% white folks. And then this is just me coming up with the number off top of the head, but I'm pretty certain that if I was to look up some numbers of the middle class in this country, especially those that are centrist, moderate, those people that are in the center of right and left, and they usually lean right, they are or would be a core of the middle class in this country. And I base that just off of my years of research in politics. And instead of dealing with the bottom up, they want to deal with the middle class up. At least this is their framing. But when you look at what Kamala proposes, it seems as if it is something beneficial for immigrants. So two things I want to do here. First, I want to go to a thread. This is, I don't know, let me see who this person is. Selena Wang, senior White House correspondent for ABC News, former CNN correspondent. She did the thread. Some on the right would call her a DEI hire, right? This is the term that they throw around. Selena Wang. It's like, we've been in this country for so long. How do we have a diversity that does not include the American freedmen? This is why we were happy when the DEI programs were are being stripped, modified, and in many cases just outright trashed. So because we need to be in those seats first. But anyway, I want to get into her thread. Let me blow this up some. Matter of fact, I need to adjust this microphone. I don't know why I got it right here. It's just in the way of the screen. But y'all make sure y'all click that like button. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, this is a quick pop-up. Those of you who are watching on Twitter, you could share the video out on Twitter, retweet it, or repost it on X. That's a stupid name, but that's Elon. And if you're watching from Twitter, come on over to the YouTube channel, click like, share the video out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click on that little bell icon so that you'll become notified every time Be the Power goes live and drops its dynamic content, and be a part of the Notification Nation. Shout out to all my mods. I'm not looking in the chat right now. And shout out to all of our regulars that come on. So let's get into this thing, fam. Let us get into this. Matter of fact, I can blow this up a little bit more. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Okay, so new. Harris will propose providing up to $25,000 in payment support for first-time homeowners, with more generous support for first-generation homeowners, according to campaign official. She'll announce tomorrow in North Carolina, along with her plan to ban corporate price gouging. Now that deserves some fleshing out. That deserves some fleshing out. Right? What does that mean exactly? Especially the part that says first generation homeowners. Who in America that have been in this country for generations would see, instead of just saying immigrants, new immigrants, they, in the slick way that politicians think they can do things and get away with it, and that's before we woke up and before we woke this thing up. This may have been something that they may have been able to get away with 10 years ago, but you will not be able to get away with that. Now, first generation homeowner means an immigrant. We are not first generation anything in this country. Those of us who are American freedmen, or those of us who are American citizens, especially those of us who are day one citizens in this country. We're not. What does that mean? First generation homeowners. So basically, what's being implied here is that this is going to go to those people that Biden and Harris led over here by the millions. Many of them illegal. Many of them illegal. And, they need to go back home. They need to go back to where they came from. But we know that Biden or Harris is not going to do that, particularly Harris, if she becomes the president. So let's go into some of these other things. Campaign officials tell me, and we know because we just listened to the speech, Harris-Walz administration would provide working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000 in down payment assistance, with more generous support for first-generation homeowners. More generous support for first-generation homeowners. But what is the key here? Families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years and are buying their first home up to $25,000, right, in down payment assistance. So that doesn't mean us, the American freedmen, our people. And I highlight this on the thread where I'm breaking down the Biden-Harris administration's policies that they are presenting as if they've done something great for our people, lying to our people. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that as well. And after the surplus of those, I think that was the Reinvestment Act, and those COVID relief bills. When that money ran out, and the money that was given to renters that were struggling to pay rents in 2021, by the time 2022 hit, those people, particularly American freedmen, aka Black folks, were back in dire straits. In 2023, things got exponentially worse. And evictions among our people, especially our women, rose. They rose. This is a fact. And you can look the date up, and I'll pull this stuff up if I need to. So when they say working families who have paid their rent on time for 2 years, I want you to go to all of the construction sites in the cities where you live, especially in blue cities, whether it doesn't matter if they're in blue states or red states, blue cities especially. And I want you to look at the, I guess we could say, ethnic makeup of the workers there. The majority of them are going to be Mexican/Hispanic. These people that are working, these people that have come over here and have skipped the line, not just because they skipped the line, but because government said, excuse me, get out of the way, and let's bring our new friends here, the immigrants, some of whom are illegal, to get in front of the line. And now you are going to struggle even more at the back of the line. These are people, possibly, that can afford to pay rents for 2 years straight. Families, working families is what it says, who have not missed the rent payment. I want you to think about poor freedmen neighborhoods all over this country and ask yourselves the question, do you think that you can find a majority of the families in our neighborhoods across the country that have working families and hasn't missed a rent payment, one rent payment in 2 years? You know that this plan is not for us. This plan is not for us at all. They're telling you who this is for. Let's read more. More on Harris housing plan. Call for construction of 3 million new housing units. So that what's the average family? 1, 2, 3, 4.5 people, I believe. The 2 parents and 2.5 children. I believe it's been a while since I've looked at that, right? So you multiply that by 3 million, that's about 7 million, right? 7 million occupants in these 3 million new homes. Well, is it going to go to all of these evicted freedmen that I just spoke about? Of course not. Of course not. Tax incentive for building starter homes. If you can't afford to maintain your rent as American freedmen, how are you going to receive a tax incentive on money to build a starter home? See, this is what happens when we have been passed up and passed by and passed over for generation after generation after generation. This is the results. We're going into the 4th year of the Biden-Harris campaign. And so this next one, lower rent by taking on corporate and major landlords. About 2 years ago, I believe it was 60 Minutes, did an expose on corporate landlords. Corporate landlords. About 2 years ago, 60 Minutes did an expose on corporate landlords. Many of these companies are Chinese owned, and they set up shop, especially in the state of Florida, DeSantis' state. He's tough on everybody, it seems, except these corporate landlords who have rooted themselves in his state. But nevertheless, in Athens, Georgia, I've watched rents go from $625, $650, $675, $700 to $1,400, $1,450, $1,455. Double and more than double in communities that are already viewed as low-income communities. So what the corporate landlords were doing was gentrification, pretty much. We're going to raise your rents, kick you out of your homes, invest in the units by modifying them, and then double what the rent is going to be. See, nothing in Harris's plan addresses this. Nothing. And my sister Felicia, Coach Felicia, asked me a question about what would my counter be for, let me see, let me try to find that. And like she asked, if you were sitting down with Trump, what would your counter be? So let me see. Okay. Here's number one. This was what my counter would be. This is what how we would draft policies up if obviously we were running for office or if we had to present a proposal. And then we just did this off the top of the head. Number one, for American families, particularly freedmen, notice I said American families, particularly freedmen, AKA Black people, who represent the largest percentage of those facing eviction, I would begin by advocating for debt forgiveness. This approach is crucial, considering that much of the new debt and financial strain caused by inflation over the past 3 years has occurred under the Biden administration. It's a fact. Number two, the $2,500 down payment assistance would be allocated to family units, regardless of rental history, that have never owned a home before, with special consideration given to young families, particularly those who are newly married or expecting a child. I thought, we might as well give special consideration a meaning that actually means something. And for those of you who know who I'm shooting at, you know who I'm shooting at. Number three, additionally, the home buyer must commit to living in the house for at least 5 years rather than converting the home into rental units. Now, I did hear Kamala speak about that today, the last part, which I didn't read in any of her plan. It just made sense. We were on the phone chopping it up, and I came up with the stuff off the top of the head, and Ibrahim pretty much provided that point number three. So, I mean, this is something that's real. This is something that's doable. And the last point on this one was stop Wall Street investors from buying up and marking up homes in bulk. You're not going to stop them from doing that because you have no plan to stop them from doing that. You have no way to stop the people that are greasing your palms. Kamala Harris is what is called the corporate Democrat. It's just as simple as that. Her predecessor, Joe Biden, is a corporate Democrat. They called him Senator MBNA when he was a senator in Pennsylvania. And that was a bank that did all type of crazy, I think, credit card fraud. And they were the ones that helped, if I'm not mistaken, somebody can refresh my memory, precipitate the housing crash that happened in 2008. This is the same group that was brought by Bank of America. These same people helped Barack Obama. They funded his campaign. The same people. I might be off just on little bits and pieces of that, but for the most part, I'm correct. You're a corporate Democrat. These are empty promises. You have no plan. I bet you if you were to ask her, flesh that out. Stop Wall Street investors from buying up and marking up homes in bulk. How would you do that, Vice President Harris? I bet you she start talking about, well, first, you have to be unburdened by what has happened in the past and not pick up new burdens by what can be done tomorrow. This is what she's probably gonna say. She's gonna babble a bunch of BS. She's gonna babble a bunch of BS. So, I mean, we gotta look at this thing for what it is. We have to look at it for what it is. For those of you that are on Twitter, we got 107 people watching live. Come on over to the YouTube channel. Come on over to the YouTube channel. Yeah, Sister Kelly, that's what she's going to do. Talk. She's going to start talking about unburdening of what was and being burdened by what is and unburdened by what can be or whatever the hell she be saying when she's babbling. Because that's all it is. It's just babble. This last tweet says Harris will propose a $40 billion fund to help local governments find solutions to the lack of housing supply. It expands on a similar $20 billion fund proposed by the Biden administration. This is hilarious. So when they're crafting these bills and they're looking for ways to create what's commonly called pork projects in Washington, they find ways to put money into meaningless programs so that they could help their friends that's in, maybe AIDS and get certain people jobs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want anybody, Roland. I know you listening, you're watching. In some degree, I know you're paying attention to what we're saying. Can you, Roland Martin, and I'm calling you out specifically, I want to read this tweet. Harris will also propose a $40 billion fund to help local governments find solutions to the lack of housing supply. It expands on a similar $20 billion fund proposed by the Biden administration. I want Roland Martin to give us a breakdown of this $20 billion fund that was proposed by the Biden administration, and how has it helped? Has it been implemented? When you say proposed by the Biden administration, you mean you're going to just slap a price tag onto a proposal that never was implemented? What does this mean exactly? We're not stupid. And this is why it's time for us to start stepping up and getting into the political arena. We have to start running for office ourselves. And this is one of the reasons why Be the Power has been on this platform, providing political education and political advocacy in certain areas so that we can do just that, so that we could be armed with the knowledge to do just that. I'll put the link to that tweet in the chat and I'll retweet it. Well, I should have put that link in, but I'll retweet that and I'll put the link to the initial tweet in the chat. Okay, so now that we've gotten through that, I start digging and obviously doing my own research. And I came across this article from The Hill. And this article was just spot on. And I want to read from this article. Again, y'all share the video out. We talking politics. This is a quick BTP pop-up. We want to prove that everything that Kamala is proposing it's not to benefit American freedmen. And they have our people excited about nothing. Roland Martin is out there gaslighting every Roland Martin, D.L. Hughley, Torrey, who else, man? Mark Lamont Hill. Who else, man? There's so many. The comedian class, Luke, this big goofy Luke from the 2 Live crew, who applies. Sassy Mel Twitter. And that's what I call these people. I call them sassy males because they don't care about stuff like this. These are people that are economically okay. And for them, all they care about is pushing the political party that they're aligned with. And if I had to guess, many of them may be receiving some form of advertisement dollars from these candidates. Kamala reached out to some Nigerian, I think he's a Nigerian gamer that cosplays as an American freedman by the name of Kai Sanat. They reached out to Umar Johnson's campaign. In both cases, they were rejected. So we know that they're reaching out and there's price tags attached. So who's to say that Roland isn't doing this because he's caping for the Kamala, or he's been paid, by the Kamala Harris's campaign, Luke, and all the rest of these weak males, because that's what they are. These people, Ricky Smiley talking about block people, and I mean, like, do you mean block your families and family and friends on social media because they don't want to support Kamala Harris? Is this the way we're doing politics now? This proves that you never knew how to do politics. And everything that you did politically was from an emotional standpoint. And this is why you, as the entertainer, was able to be easily duped by the political machine. In this case, obviously, the DNC machine. So let's read this. Let me blow this up, son. I don't know if it can blow up anymore. Okay, it says, this is the article, Kamala's economic plan is about to drop and high prices are here to stay. And it's crazy, these advertisements that come up, because I like wallabies and fedoras. Kamala Harris will soon reveal her economic plan. It's about time. The fill-in-the-blanks Democratic nominee for president has come a long way on so-called vibes and the fact that she isn't Joe Biden. But eventually, voters will want to know what the vice president wants to do with the economy, their number one issue. Expect Harris, bride-like, to bring something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. The old part is the trickiest. When asked recently how Harris is scrambling to distance herself from unpopular Bidenomics, White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre, another person, she's a Haitian, How is it not an American freedman woman that is the press secretary? We're DEI and diversity has destroyed us, family, and we just got to keep it official. It has destroyed us. And we've been fighting for it. We've been fighting for our own replacement in this country. And it's the entertainers. It's the Roland Martins. It's the Greg Carrs, the Michael Imhoteps. It is these people that are helping these people, the other wing of white supremacy, push us out while pretending to be for black people and pretending to be some form of black media. And they're not. These people are gaslighters. Let's go back. White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre sarcastically reminded the press corps, quote, "You do know that it is the Biden-Harris administration, right? And that Kamala Harris is the vice president." I want to go back and read that paragraph. The old part is the trickiest. When asked recently how Harris is scrambling to distance herself from unpopular Bidenomics, White House spokesperson Karine Jean-Pierre sarcastically reminded the press corps, "You do know that that it is the Biden-Harris administration, right? And that Kamala Harris is the vice president." This goes to what Trump has been saying on the campaign trail, at least, that Biden's policies is Harris's policies. Karine Jean-Pierre confirmed that with the statement there, that she can't distance herself from the things that she helped create. This was a slip up, but it was still factual. It was still factual. The new part, even more giveaways of taxpayer dollars to social programs. We could soon see something like babysitting for all as a means to reduce the high cost of childcare. I like the sound of that. Not that I like the sound of it, but how they framed it, that I would not be surprised that under Kamala Harris or Harris Walls administration, because this guy likes to put maxi pads and tampons in boys' bathrooms, a waste of state dollars. Well, why wouldn't they waste federal dollars on babysitting for all? Why wouldn't they? What's borrowed? In her ambition to put the government in charge of an ever bigger slice of the economic pie, Harris could look to her father, described by The Economist as a Marxist economist. Or maybe she is under the spell of her running mate, progressive Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who is much loved by the Democratic Socialists of America. Man, I could go so many different places with that one, but I'm gonna try to get through this article. Weirdly, she has also borrowed from Donald Trump, lifting his new no tax on tips pledge without batting an eye, right there in Toss-Up, Nevada, where the former president first introduced the idea. She has also taken a leaf from Biden's playbook, vowing to attack inflation, voters' biggest peeve, by imposing a national ban on quote unquote corporate price gouging, which she blames for driving prices higher. This is something that this is a drum that she's beating on the campaign trail. This is a drum that she's beating on the campaign trail, right? So I like how The Hill breaks this article down, right? And then these are people that did the research, and sometimes it's good to look up these articles because they do the research for you, and they have the hyperlinks here so that you can click on the sources and then do your own independent research. And that's what we do over here at Be the Power, so that we can become more informed. And then we like to do our live streams and give breakdowns to all this stuff. But this is a pop-up, and reading this article should suffice. Now it continues. Harris must know, or at least her advisors must know, that prices are now up more than 20% under her watch. This is not because unscrupulous business owners have been swindling the public. The San Francisco Federal Reserve did a study on that very issue and concluded, quote, "Overall, our analysis suggests that fluctuations in markups were not a main driver of the post-pandemic surge in inflation, nor of the recent disinflation that started mid-2022. Harris's accusation of price gouging is borrowed directly from Biden, who, right? You can't separate yourself from Jim Crow Joe. You can't. Y'all are corporate Democrats par excellence, point blank, period. Y'all are the epitome of corporate Democrats. It says directly from Biden, who on more than one occasion blamed greedy companies for hiking prices indiscriminately just to fatten margins. He even set up a strike force on unfair and illegal pricing, more wasteful dollars to investigate the situation, which held its first virtual meeting at the beginning of this month. The task force includes the FTC, led by the ferocious but merciful, inept Lena Khan and the Justice Department. Thankfully, someone in the White House decidedly that, and I don't know Lena Khan, I've heard the name maybe once or twice, but I'm not familiar. Let me see. I'm not familiar with this person, Lena Khan, Commissioner of the United States Federal Trade Commission. I've not done any research on her. Maybe I should have earlier when I was reading this article. But anyway, the Hill, this author of this article on the Hill is calling her mercifully inept. It says, thankfully, someone in the White House decided that maybe they should actually study the issue before throwing CEOs in jail. So the Fed took a hard look at companies' costs and prices. But instead of confirming Biden's whining about shrinkflation, remember his cringeworthy Super Bowl ad about getting less ice cream for the same price? The Fed economists reported that, quote, the aggregate markup across all sectors of the economy has stayed essentially flat during the post-pandemic recovery. Did company raise prices? Sure. They had to pay for more materials, for rents and for labor, and they passed those extra costs along to their customers. Food prices, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, are up over 20% since Biden and Harris entered the White House. So all of this is happening under your administration. And you've been there, Kamala, the whole time. And now you're on the campaign trail gaslighting our people, especially because those are the main people you need to vote for you, into believing that somehow you are going to fix the problem that you caused, because you could have fixed it when you came into office. You could have simply fixed it then. If price gouging was a thing, these prices have been this way for the past several years. You could have fixed it in 2021. You could have. You could have. Let me continue. One year in, Americans were shelling out 11.2% of their disposable income on food, the highest percentage in 3 decades. I just left the supermarket not too long ago. I had 3 bags, and my total was $74. 3 light bags at that. They were light bags. You get to the point where it's like if gas is $5, it's like, what can you do? You got to eat just like you got to have gas. You don't stand there and complain about it, but you think about it, that this is crazy what's going on in this country. The cost of living is rising because you have to pay extremely high rents with these corporate landlords that this administration could have done something about when they first came in office. Food prices, gas prices. I don't know if things will get better under Trump. I have no idea, because everything drill, baby, drill is not a solution to me. That bringing down the energy prices by drilling for more oil is going to have a domino effect on the rest of the economy. No, I'm sorry. You got to come with more than that. You're going to have to come with more than that, because the only thing that's going to do is make BP and Shell and all of the big oil lobby, it's just going to make them richer. Even when he had the conversation with Elon Musk, and before the conversation with Elon Musk, he spoke about the electric car and, that it was good to have the electric car, but, some people don't want electric cars. They want to use gas. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds like you're caping for the oil lobby to me. That's what it sounds like. So far, what I'm hearing from both people, both candidates, it just doesn't sound good. But we have some detail from Kamala finally. And it doesn't sound good at all. And the Hill is breaking it down. Let me continue. It says, but despite that cost inflation, major U.S. food companies have not seen their margins, that is, the difference between their costs and expenses increase. Meaning, yes, they're raising food prices, but it's not like they're bringing in any more money. It's offset by the inflation that has been persistent over the past several years. Several months ago, I looked at the results for Kraft Heinz, Pepsi, General Mills, Campbell's Soup and Coca-Cola, grocers like Albertsons, Walmart, and Kroger, and meat producers like Hormel and Conagra. In each case, the company's gross profit margins shrank after Biden became president because of rising costs. In time, these businesses raised prices to recover their profit margin and pay for their extra expenses. So when you hear Biden saying that he's going to go after these corporations for price gouging, and you hear Kamala repeat this same lie because you had years to do so, if this was a thing. But the studies showed that this is not a thing, that these businesses are raising prices to make margins or else they're going to lose money. They're going to lose money. For those of us that hustled on the streets, I'm going to tell a brief story because I'm from the hood. Now, I don't mind sharing some of my hood stories, right? So, peace, what's going on, Dre, Vince Jefferson, Societe Commentary, I think I pronounced your name right. Sister Gina, what's going on? I remember when it was like this major coke bust and getting, you was hustling in the hood. You had to buy that weight. You had to buy that weight. And for us, that was hood hustlers. The people that we bought the weight from had to up their prices. So that means we had to make our product skimpy. And the fiends, they was complaining. But it was like, okay, you spend $600, you're supposed to make $1,200. In this case, you spent $600 and you was making $850. So I held the meeting in the hood and all the hustlers came through. It was a party in the hood. And, I told everybody we going to meet up at the party, everybody that was hustling, and we going to have a discussion. And, we partied a little bit. Everybody got their little smoke on, their little drink on. And then at some point in the party, I'm like, yo, let's go in the hallway. And we all go in the hallway. And, I start going in. I tell the DJ, before we go, I tell the DJ, turn the music down. I need the people, I need to be heard. In the hallway, I'm like, look, we not doubling our money right now. And the only people benefiting is the fiends. And I know the story sounds crazy, but it's what it is, because I can compare it to what's going on in the supermarkets and with companies and corporations across the country. I said, so we're going to have to cut our portions in half that we're selling in order to double our money up. And we got to do this all in unison, because if one of us decides that we're going to keep our portions the same, I'm trying not to be too detail specific, right? Then that's going to cause problems. And then everybody is going to look at that person and it's going to cause a war in the hood. And we don't want that. We don't need that, especially right now with product being so hard to get, for us to get our hands on. Everybody in the hallway agreed, and that's exactly what we did. The fiends got mad. They went down to the other parts of Far Rock to get the garbage that the other guys were selling down there. And then they realized, like, this the best shit is right here. where we live at. And that was the choice. And they had to spend, they complained in the same way that the average consumer is complaining right now. In the same way the average consumer is complaining right now. So this is what's going on. So these businesses need to see their margins. It's the same concept, same principles apply. Those of you that's from the hood that know what I'm talking about, and those of you not from the hood. And Michelle Alexander, in her book, The New Jim Crow, showed that white people actually sold more drugs than we did. They just got convicted less for it or received less time when they got caught. That's in her book, The New Jim Crow. Look at it. Look those statistics up. So I don't want to confine that to some hood thing. For those of you that hustled some illegal product, no matter what your skin tone is or where you live, because the white boys on them college campuses was making money hand over fist depending on what they were selling. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't want to confine that there. Anyway, so this chapter ends with this paragraph. In time, these businesses raise prices to recover their profit margin and pay for their extra expenses. In the same way that I was speaking about, because we still had to get paraphernalia, yada, 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 yada. It says by the end of 2023, most companies had restored most, but not all of their profitability. Not one of these firms showed the kind of margin expansion that would justify accusations of price gouging. This is a lie that Kamala is out there spreading. This is a lie that she's out there spreading, fam. She's going to stop corporate price gouging. They're not price gouging. Who's going to press Kamala at the press conference? You think Roland Martin is going to sit down and ask her about, so when you talk about price gouging, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He's going to do what Steve Harvey did. Look, I'm not asking her no tough questions. Just go vote for this woman. Just go vote for her. Stop asking me to ask her questions. It says, and this is important, even though this is a fake charge, it is one that will probably score some points with low information voters who are angry that they are struggling to feed their families and want someone to blame. The someone voters should blame is the team in the White House, Harris and Biden, who refused to let a crisis go to waste. Instead, threw trillions of excess and unnecessary dollars into the economy when supplies were constrained. This is a fact confirmed by the San Francisco Fed. Isn't that ironic? To support, quote, to support households and businesses during the pandemic, the San Francisco Fed noted the federal government provided large fiscal transfers and increased unemployment benefits. These policies boosted demand for goods and services, especially as the economy recovered from the depth of the pandemic. The increase in overall demand, combined with supply shortages, boosted the cost of production, contributing to the surge in inflation during the post-pandemic recovery. I had studied this. And if you go back just a year ago to the Be the Power live stream, you'll hear me breaking down that the inflation was caused due to supply chain issues. That's what it was due to. It wasn't because, Trump put trillions of dollars into the economy for the economic recovery that was needed to keep the country going. In the same way that the American freedmen need reparations to keep their livelihoods going. I hope these two things are starting to coalesce in the minds of those that are against our fight for remedial justice. But we gonna make it make sense over here. If you have any problems with understanding, come through. I'll drop a link. I'll drop a link in the live chat, and we could jump on and chop that topic up as well. It says the increase in overall demand. Oh no, my bad. I read that. In short, excess federal spending combined with supply chain issues caused inflation. Of course, Neither Harris nor Biden will admit this. What is Harris's something blue? Her economic plan is pure blue Democrat. Higher taxes, bigger government, price controls, all favored leftist nostrums. But what is really blue is the average consumer who has struggled to make ends meet, whose real disposable income has gone down under Biden Harris, and whose optimism about the future has gone down with it. These are facts. You know how we know? Because some people could say, oh, he's reading a biased article. I said earlier, go into the neighborhoods where American freedmen live. Go to where our people live. Survey them and ask them, how have the past few years been? I know because I do it. I ask those questions. I look at my own pockets and my own bank account and can answer those questions myself. I can answer those questions myself. So we know for a fact that what Kamala is proposing is it's a nothing burger. It's so funny. A burger is right on. That is so ironic that a burger is right there on the screen. Geesh. Okay, so that's the end of that article. Let me put that article in the live chat. And you all read that on your time. But I mean, that article was telling, and it's true. It's true. And we have to come to a realization here in this election about what we're going to do insofar as a presidential candidate is concerned. I mean, we really have to come to a conclusion, fam. You know, like I said, I've not heard much from Trump's administration on, you know, I've heard some things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say I've not heard some things. I have heard, but when you're leading that, the answer to the question about how will you bring about the economic recovery that's needed in this nation for everyday Americans, and you lead with drill, baby, drill, that's not going to fly in the hood. That's not an answer that you could go to any Freedmen neighborhood and think that that's going to be received well. It's not. Kamala talk about giving up $25,000 to first generation homeowners, which means immigrants. How you going to match that? I mean, I got a proposal. I got a counter. You need something to trot out there that you're actually going to do, because we got some things drafted up already. Some of those things we've already submitted to some people. I won't talk about those things. So I'm just saying, man, I don't think that Kamala Harris's plan is good at all. I don't think that is good at all. At all. I don't believe that is something that's going to help our people in any way. I believe that everything that she said, that everything that she's proposing is designed to help immigrants. Our freedmen families are being evicted at record rates, and Hispanic families are moving in behind them. This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact. It can't be disputed. This is why we want to have those conversations with Roland Martin. I want to debate the Mark Lamont Hills. You got smoke for Hotep. What is Uncle Hotep's? And if you stand with Kamala, if you're with her, then debate me, Mark Lamont Hill. What you scared of? It seems like these people like easy work, man. It just seems like they like easy work, but they know that this reparations movement is different. So, yeah, a lot of us don't get along in this space. Yeah, but any one of us, man, especially depending on who it is, you sit down with one of these pundits and they're going to get wiped down. They're going to get wiped down, and that's a fact. That's a fact, because we know how to speak to the issues that affect us. So you can't, but what about Title IX? You ain't going to be able to do that to us, because that's not going to mean anything. Because at the end of the day, the data, the statistics, it means everything, right? One of the lies that the Biden-Harris administration, let me put this link in the live chat as well, and I'll pull it up. Let me put this in the live chat. I need to adjust this microphone. Ben said I was going to do that, but let me pull this up because Biden, in his dementia state, keeps lying and saying that his administration has closed the wealth gap, right? And when he says that, he doesn't mean slam shut close, but if it was here, basically it's now here. It's a lie. If that was the case, why are our people the most evicted people since 2020? Yeah, since 2021. Why? If they would have wealth, they would be paying. If the wealth gap was closed among the American freedmen, they would be able to afford their rents. They wouldn't be getting evicted. It's BS. It's BS. So Duke University, shout out to the professor. Shout out to the professor. Duke University put out an article right after these bogus claims came out. U.S. racial wealth gap is persistent and growing. New research finds. I love that, weighing of the scales there. So, Durham, North Carolina. In his 2024 State of the Union address, President Joe Biden said the country's racial wealth gap is the smallest it has been in 20 years. However, a new paper from 3 collaborators at the Samuel Du Bois Cook Center for Social Equality at Duke University provides an important correction. The modern racial wealth gap is in fact growing, in large part because of the cumulative impact of the country's racial history and intergenerational transfers of wealth from older generations to young ones. That is a fact. That's a fact. And we're going to cover those wealth transfers as time goes along on this platform. If I was thinking, I would have pulled it up before I did this live stream, but this was just meant to be a pop-up. I wasn't trying to be on here for like 2 hours or nothing. Maybe if the debate was going on. Yeah, yes, peace be still, said he will not debate anyone from a pure black perspective. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And none of them won't. Because you're not going to get that off with us. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. None of that stuff that's irrelevant to us. You're not going to be able to wow us with how many books you can quote from. What does the raw numbers and the statistics, what do the data sets look like when it comes to our people in juxtaposition to the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth? Because that's all that's going to matter to me. You're not going to be able to take me on a fallacious argument merry-go-round. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen whatsoever. It's not going to happen. So this is why they won't have the debate. This is why Luke, who sounds like he used to be a boxer and got punched upside the head too many times, he's not going to have no real discussion with you. He's going to host a Twitter space, bring up this cackling hen from Florida and let them curse you out. Yo, I'm telling y'all, fam, the most disrespected I've been in this political space, and I've had debates with hardcore racists, but I've not been more disrespected than I have by black Democrats in this space. The sassy male Twitter in their cohorts. Yo, there's sassy male Twitter. I've not been disrespected more. How is it that you claim that you're fighting for our people and we make the same claim and we can't have an argument or a debate about, we can't have an argument or a debate without you being disrespectful and leaning on the mute button? It's like, what are you leaning on the mute button for? We supposed to be having, it was a Republican brother in Luke's space the other day, man. He was in there cleaning them up. He was cleaning them up. They had no answers. Then the cackling hen from Florida jumped on the space And she just started going at the brother, wouldn't let him respond, kept going, muting him, going to the next person. No, you're not going to respond. Next person. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Bad Democrats. Y'all are bad Democrats. You have no more moral high ground than MAGA. You just don't. You don't. So we can't allow our politics to further be led by a bunch of sassy males, right? The D.L. Hugleys, the Roland Martins, the Toure. I mean, these guys, they're weak, their voices. Like, what happened to the masculinity, the bass in your voice? They all just sound feckless to me. And they're on the side of the Democratic Party and those misandrists that really hate black men in that party. And they're trying to shame us into voting for. Remember, Maxine Waters said, I'll never forgive black men for voting for Trump in 2020. Like, I still got them headlines saved. Ben Jealous, former head of the NAACP, called black men who vote for Trump chauvinistic. Chauvinistic. Because they feel that he's a better candidate. Ricky Smiley, a man that dresses up in women clothes in almost every film, is on the radio trying to shame our men and telling people that they should block people on social media if they do not support Kamala Harris. This isn't politics, fam, that these people are doing. It's just not. And they fear us. They fear us because we're coming. And I just gave a breakdown for those of you for those of you who may have missed it. Y'all make sure y'all check in from the beginning. I don't know. I might go live Sunday night. I don't like touching on Kamala Harris's the race part because it's just getting played out. She's not one of us. Whether you call her a black woman or not, she's not like us. In the same way Obama was not like us. At least, though, Obama was tied to America through his European American, quote unquote, white mother, whose ancestors owned slaves in the United States of America, whom Barack Obama's father does not come from that bloodline. But at the very least, he can trace himself back. She's not from here. Why would I, as an American freedman that watch all of the people come to this country and pass us up with a headline in some instances after Kamala Harris, right? Her initial run in California was the first Asian American or the first Indian American, to when she won Senate, first African American, then Barack Obama, first African American, Sidney Poitier, first African American. And this is why we say it's time for disaggregation. Blackness, black is not confined to us. Stop with that cap, because it's cap. It's cap. And now African American, since 1997, has not been confined to us. This is why American Freedmen makes the most sense. And there's nobody that could really argue it. Well, successfully argue it. Let me say, you can argue anything, but you won't win the argument. Can't. So, that's it, man. I'm just rambling at this point because I just wanted to do a pop-up and break down the nothing burger that is Kamala Harris's economic plan. There's no target for American freedmen families at all. Everything that I've read and that I heard her say in the speech that she just gave about 2 hours ago is for the benefit of immigrants. I can't imagine our people in the crowd cheering on immigrant policies, and their communities are about to be wiped out pretty much by immigrants. They're going to take over this is a fact. This isn't fear mongering. This isn't right wing nativism, which they try to say. Like this is just a fact. I put a challenge out. I think I said this on the Twitter space, but I want to put this challenge out again. I challenge you to go in your city and look at every construction site, right? I challenge you. I challenge you. Go in your city. Go to the construction sites. Take a picture. Record. Get out if you can. Walk up to them and say, I'm just, talking to people that work construction. How you like your job? You like it? You like it? It's good. It's just as a way to get up on those people. And you're going to see they're predominantly Mexican all over the country, especially in cities that are quote unquote black cities. They don't know what a black job is, but they sure enough know what a black city is. Go look at the construction site. Document them. I've been doing it. Document them. And you're going to see that what I'm saying here is true. This isn't nativism. E.S. Glaude, Eddie Glaude from MSNBC. These are facts. This is what's happening on the ground. And they think that they can get on the television and manipulate people into viewing things the way that they say them. This is what Roland Martin does. He specializes in this. This is why he won't have no real debates. I'm shocked he hasn't blocked me on Twitter yet. He blocked Brother Marcel as he knows we'll chew this guy up in the debate. He knows that. He knows that. So, I mean, I'm about to get up off air, family. I was trying to maybe extend it a little bit, but I did what I came to do, and that was break down this Nothing Burger by Kamala Harris. So y'all make sure that y'all go back and watch the beginning of this video. Listen to my breakdown. Read the article from The Hill that I read from. Like, for those of you that can't see the live link on a replay, pull up the headline and just keyword it and pull it up and read it. And if you need to do more research, click on the links that they provide that's proving that Kamala Harris is cap. She's cap. And I'm not telling nobody who to vote for. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do policy that benefits my people, then you have my ear. I don't care who you are. I don't care if I like you or dislike you. I cannot like Donald Trump, but matter of fact, let's flip that. I could like Donald Trump. I could love him, think he's a great guy. But if your policy for my community, insofar as the economy, is being led with the words drill, baby, drill, you done lost me, fam. I'm lost. What does that mean exactly? How does drilling lower the bread and the milk and the meats in the supermarket across the street? How? It doesn't. Can't lead with that, man. So let me get up off air, family. I'll leave you all with the motto of our platform, which is don't just fight the power, become the power. And then and only then will you have the power to make a change. And with that, I say peace.